evening. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 8 of the Pack Homer Podcast. I'm Cal here with my buddies Adam and Wes. If you have not done it yet, stop what you're doing. Follow us on Instagram at Pack Homer Pod or on X at Pack Homer Pod. Give us a like on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Play. Show us a little love. Right now, it kind of feels like it could be a long season, so we're just doing this on a Sunday night for your Monday morning driving pleasure.
For the love of the game.
A little better week this week. Before we get into our week, I want to give you a little ACC rundown. We kind of skipped that last week because we were so distracted. But right now in the ACC, Florida State is at 11-0. UNC is 12-0. Clemson's 9-1. Did the Clemson-South Carolina game in today?
They played at 5. They played late today. I didn't watch it, or I didn't check the score.
Well, Clemson is now updated to 10-1. So Clemson swept South Carolina this weekend, beat them 8-2 today. So Clemson's now 10-1. Notre Dame 8-1. Georgia Tech 10-2. Stanford 10-2. Louisville 8-2. Wake Forest 10-3. Miami 9-3. Virginia Tech 8-3. Pittsburgh 7-3. Virginia 7-3. Duke 7-5. NC State 6-5. Boston College 4-4, and Cal is 5-5. Gosh, there's so many teams in the ACC now. It takes like 2 minutes to list them all out. So a couple of other things I want to note in the college baseball world. Bama, who we played last week in Jacks, they are now 12-0, and Justin Lebron, the shortstop we talked about down there, is second in the country with 7 home runs. Not College of Charleston. Coastal Carolina is now 10-2. Ohio State has to have like the toughest schedule in the country. They're 1-8 right now, but they've played Arizona State 3 times. They played Auburn, Baylor, Oregon State, Coastal Carolina, us, but they're 1-8 and their only wins versus the Pack. So anyway, let's get to some NC State action. So this week we had 4 games. We predicted us to go 4-0. And we played Richmond, a good Richmond team. Richmond is now 9-2 overall.
9-2, yeah.
But we played Richmond at the Doak on Tuesday, I believe it was. They played their 4th game in 3 days, and they beat us 5-1 in a game where they out-hit us 12-4. Really busted it open in the 7th inning. Anderson Nance ran into some trouble. And it didn't really matter. After they scored 2 runs, unfortunately, the ball game was over. We had 4 hits. And what did we do in that game? What was our stat line like the last 20 at
7 innings, basically. We had 1 runner, right? We drew a walk, I think, in the 9th, maybe?
Or a hit by pitch or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah, there was I think between the last 2 innings of the the last 7 innings of the Richmond game, and then probably the first, maybe it was just the first inning of the, it was like a combined perfect game or combined no-hitter, 9 innings or something.
Yeah, of the Canisius game,
I don't remember what the stat was. What was it? We were 8 for 124. Our last, what was it?
Something crazy like that. I think Alex G corrected it and said it was 17 for 124. But I want to say it got up to like 17 for 134 at some point. So we can talk about pitching all we want to and walking people or hitting batters or any of that, making errors. But when you only score 1 run, you are not going to win very often. Probably the most disappointing thing about that Richmond game for me was that they were playing their 4th game in 3 days.
Yeah.
And completely shut us down. They struck us out 10 times. We only struck them out 6 times. It was just ugly. So, with that loss, we fell to 3-5. I mean, we were kind of all – I think the 3 of us were just we were down bad. We were down real bad.
Yeah, I think the worst part of it was they just looked better than us, I mean, it didn't look fluky at all, to be honest. They just looked like a better baseball team than NC State, on Tuesday night.
Yeah, they just showed up to the dope. We scored a run in the first and then just put up 8 zeros in a row and never quite honestly looked like we had a clue. Um, Sosa was 0 for 3 in that game with 3 punch outs, and Jarris punched out a couple times, and it didn't matter who we ran up there. It was just a buzzsaw all day. So it was tough to watch. Well, then we get to the weekend. We had Canisius. Canisius is from Buffalo. I don't know if you guys saw the stuff on social media. Those guys practicing in the snow. So probably the weather today was probably what they were most comfortable in. But they came to the Doak on Friday for game one, and we played a pretty clean ball game against them. We did make one error, but we beat Canisius 10-2. Dom Frenton had 12 strikeouts in 6 innings, lowered his ERA on the season, guys, to 129. And Jackson Lucas came in and was phenomenal. He was
Yeah.
3 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, gave up 1 hit, 1 walk. I was really excited to see, Dom only had 2 walks over 6 innings, which, we've kind of talked about for a while, kind of as is a tell for him. So to win that game 10-2, even though, they kind of hung around for a little while, we busted it open. Finally got to see Ty Head. I said I was okay if we just had a revolving door of outfielders. Ty Head looked pretty good this weekend. Hit a grand slam on Friday. That's what I was kind of looking for. I wanted to see a little more juice from that big body he's got. Alex Sosa also hit a home run in that game. So win 10-2 on Saturday, on Friday. Again, Dom and Jackson Lucas look good. Any thoughts on that game? Because I think the second game is probably the one with the most to talk about.
My only comment was going to be about Dom. I mean, I think Dom looked real good. I mean, strikeout 12, walk 2. I mean, it was, what'd you say his ERA was down to now? 1.92?
One is actually down to 120 on the official.
Oh, wow.
stat sheet.
Okay.
120.
Yeah, okay.
He's had 21 strikeouts in 15 innings. Still has 10 walks, but only had 2 in 6. So,
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I thought his stuff looked good. I mean, I mean, it was good to see. I mean, hopefully, it was a good bounce back for him after the game down in Jacksonville.
He threw a lot of strikes. Threw 60 out of 93 pitches for strikes. And Jackson Lucas came in through 23 out of 34 pitches for strikes. So, you can talk about the level of competition, but like to just come in and pound the zone and dominate, it was good to see. No matter who you're playing, right? Still got to throw it over the plate.
Yeah, Jackson Lucas threw how many pitches to pitch 3 innings? It wasn't very many.
34 pitches, 23 strikes.
Yeah.
And then he had 2 hits from Decrecio in that game, 2 hits from Sosa, hit from McHugh, 2 hits from Ty Head, including the grand slam. So that was kind of a good game to kind of get everything back on the tracks. Then game 2, I watched 5 innings in this game, and I fell asleep, and I woke up, and it was 11-2 when I woke up, and we were about to kind of put them out of their misery, and Heath Andrews, his final stat line in that game, I mean, he dominated. He went 7 innings, no walks, 3 strikeouts, 1 earned run. Heath Andrews, by the way, now in the season, has a 2.12 ERA in 17 innings pitched. Opponents are hitting 138 off Andrews. 138. They're hitting 138 off Heath Andrews and 118 off Jackson Lucas. So Andrews, who's a guy like, hey, maybe at the beginning of the year, we don't really know if he's going to stay in the rotation. I mean, he's been pretty lights out every time out. But then we absolutely made a mess of it in the 8th.
This is where I turned it on. I turned it on in the 7th inning, I think, when we were up 11-2. So I was just sitting there, just thinking I'm gonna catch like the bottom of the 7th there when we put them away, and that's the only part of the game. I was following it earlier, but I wasn't watching until there. But man, we really botched it around there in the top of the 8th. Holy smokes!
I was sitting there watching it kind of like golf because we were up like 10-2 through the 5th, and I was kind of dozing in and out, and then it's 11-2, and McHugh's got 4 hits, and he's driven in 5, and I wake up, and he's not even in the game anymore. Like, Austin Fort has moved to first base, and we've taken Hogue out of the outfield, and Hebner's in the game. Like, I don't know what's going on.
This was all naps you were taking yesterday?
Man, I was trying to rest, okay? It was kind of a boring game.
I was thinking it was a nighttime game or something. I was thinking, no, it was in the middle of the damn day.
Yeah, I was getting a little afternoon nap. Maybe, I played a little golf yesterday morning, had a couple cold beers. I just wanted to rest. And they'd walk 6. I mean, it was like terrible baseball. For us, it was kind of fun. We had 14 hits. So I was dozing in and out. And then I wake up and it's 11-2. My wife, who's maybe the biggest baseball fan in the house, said she was going to go outside for a walk. I was like, yeah, it's beautiful. You should go do it. She comes back in the house and it's like 11-10. So anyway, Carson Kelly comes in, gets to a third of an inning, gives up 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks. Then we bring Wimbish in. He gives up another hit. Duden comes in, gives up a 3-run bomb to tie the game at 11. Duden got through a third of an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 1 walk. And all of a sudden, we turned an 11-2 game against Canisius into an 11-11 game going into the 9th inning, or into the bottom of the 9th. So,
I can't remember. Did Duden? Did he make the third out there in the 8th, and then Schaffner came in just the 9th? I was thinking that Schaffner came in and got us out of the 8th.
Schaffner came in the 9th. He came in the third, just the 9th. I think Duden ended the 9th with the 8th with a kind of like a lazy pop up. After the home run.
Yeah, okay. I'm getting the games mixed up.
But it was hard to watch. And so then in the bottom of the 9th inning, and I was kind of surprised by this. If you were following the game in the bottom of the 9th inning, Austin Fort comes up, and we had Ty Head led off with a walk. Hebner bunted him over to second. Nixon gets hit by a pitch. And so you had runners on first and second. Austin Fort hits a single into right field, hits a hard ground ball through the right side. And there's a play at the plate. I mean, Head's dead. I mean, the throw
was a great slide.
Yeah, throw beats him. He sticks the oven mitt in there. Guy tags him on his back, on his right hand instead of his left hand.
He swimmed his left hand around him, just ever so slightly. And I thought it at the time on the live shot. I was like, he's safe. But then when I watched the replay, I'm like, man, that's not enough to overturn it. Like they just didn't have a good enough angle. But they did have that one shot that was from like the third base side where you could really see him sliding in there, and he, because it looks like he would have, the catcher should have tagged him on the left side, but he just ever so slightly moved that arm around out of the way. It was a great slide.
And then they had to review it. They called him out. They had to review it. Obviously, his game's not on ESPN. It was like on ESPN, the Ocho. And thankfully, they got a good enough angle that they could overturn it. Did want to clarify something for you, Adam. You said wasn't Duden in the game in the 9th. You're right. He got the pop up in the 8th, and then he came out and got in trouble in the 9th.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, because I was thinking he didn't end. He didn't ever. I remember Schaffner coming in and
yes.
Coming in relief of Duden, and that's why I was trying to think of when you said they each got a pitch. Those guys pitched a third of an inning.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what it was. Duden came back out for the 9th. That's what it was. Yeah.
Duden finished the 8th, came back out, walked the guy, gave up a single, and then gave up a home run to tie the game. And then that's when Schaffner came in.
And Schaffner looked good. Looked good.
Looked good again. So,
one thing you mentioned Austin Fort coming in, pinch hitting for he had pinch hit in maybe the seventh for McHugh. McHugh was 4 for 4 at the time.
Yes.
But obviously he came through there. But man, that's kind of hard to take a guy out who was swinging it that good.
Yes.
He was 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs at the time.
And when he came in, we had a chance. We had runners on. We had a chance to walk off hit. You win 12-2, and you don't even worry about the 8th in the ninth. Instead, gives us something to talk about. I mean, obviously, gosh, one of my buddies who's a Duke fan texted me tonight and said, "Are you worried about Duden?" I'm still not worried about Duden's stuff, but it is getting, it's getting a little worrisome for him to not go out and have some success. Not just for our team. I know he needs it for his confidence. Then you start to thinking back to last year. I do, where Duden was really kind of like the 7th and 8th inning guy. 6th, 7th, and 8th sometimes. And D-Rock, was the 9th inning guy. He was the guy to nail it down. And, you're beginning to wonder if, being in this different role, if that has anything to do with it. In the 9th inning, getting strike one over the plate, such a big deal. Duden struggled with that a little bit. He threw 8 out of 14 pitches for strikes. But it is, we are certainly going to have our eyes. Every Wolfpack fan is going to have their eyes on Jacob Duden the next couple times out, because really, for us to get where we want to go, kind of like we've talked about with Alex Sosa, we plan on Jacob Duden being a big part of that. Wesley, what do you think? I haven't let you talk much.
Well, there was one positive for the meltdown last 2 innings. That was not the worst NC State performance on Saturday. So there was that positive for what happened there in that meltdown. But, I guess if one thing you can glean from the series is that we're playing Canisius, who maybe was one step ahead of Fordham, so just not a very good team. And, we did have situations where, we had to have guys step up, and that's what happened at the end of the game. So hopefully, we take that to some of our ACC series, and we don't have those type of meltdowns when we get to conference play. So maybe that's the positive out of the Saturday debacle.
Yeah, it was definitely a debacle, but maybe it galvanizes you a little bit when you find out how to win one that you maybe should have lost. So then today, game 3, Ryan Marone comes out. Dude's on cruise control for 7 innings straight. Go what? It was easy I didn't fall asleep. It was only 2 hours. Dude just went out and flat out shoved. He threw 72 out of 100 pitches for strikes, 0 walks, 5 hits.
11 strikeouts. Man.
And I don't know of the 5 hits that they might have hit one ball hard in 7 innings. And I don't know if you guys were noticing, thank God, ESPN 8, that you guys got the velocity on the screen now. Last year, sometimes we didn't have that. But Marone was 92 in the 7th. He was 90 in the 1st. He was 92 at like pitch 98 or something today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was just absolutely in total control. He just, I mean, there was never thought about, did anyone ever even toss in the bullpen today? I can't imagine that they did.
I don't remember him showing anybody. Yeah. He was,
I don't think we were going to go that route again.
Bullpen's close. We did have Coop. We didn't even see Coop this weekend. So we can talk about that here in a few. But might see Coop against UNCG or Campbell this week.
Coop was up in the pen yesterday with Duden. When Duden first, when Duden was in the pen, they were up together. But yeah, never came in after that. But yeah, Marone he just looked. Kid's a stud, man. Matter of fact, Cal, I was thinking about it. That hat they were wearing today was the hat that I gave you to send back.
Yeah, send it back. Get in my truck
because it's too big. I'm thinking maybe I should just keep that and get me a bandana and wear it underneath it. Get that Ryan Marone look. He's freaking tough, man. I'm telling you, that was awesome. That was fun to watch.
Literally, the second pitch of the game when Decrecio hit one 368. That was all the run support Marone needed. It was ball game. I think we could. I don't know if they could have scored off of him in 10 innings. He got the 3-2 counts 4 times today, I think, and every single time he got the full count, he punched the guy out. Man, a couple of times he was throwing the changeup, and I don't remember his changeup being as good as I thought it was today. It was really good today. So he was like 76, 78 with the curveball, 84 with the changeup. and 90-92 with the fastball, throwing everything where he wanted, when he wanted. It was fun to watch. And Josh Hogue was another bright spot today because Hogue has not looked like Josh Hogue at all this year. He had two really good swings today. The ball in the double down the line, down the left field line, and then I think he lined into the center field gap on that swing. I think I texted you guys that looks like a Josh Hogue swing. Last year, so many times against good pitching, bad pitching, whoever playing. I mean, he seemed to be able to find a gap in a barrel, and we hadn't seen that at all this year. So I was excited to see Josh Hogue have a couple of knocks today. So
I think
sad
he
too.
had a, I think he had a stolen base too as well, right?
He did. He did on a good read on a ball in the dirt.
Yeah.
So
A little more smooth.
after 11 games, we're hitting 283. Have not seen the pitching we're going to see in ACC play. So I don't know if my prediction that this team might hit for a higher average with less home runs is going to come to fruition, but we'll see. But right now, McHugh's hitting 400, Decresio's hitting 361, Jarrow's 313, and Ty Head is hitting an even 300. Those are the four guys that are in the lineup regularly that are hitting above 300. Luke Nixon's at 283, Sosa at 268, Frostman at 233, Lamphere at 231, and Hogue at 212. I do want to say our three starting pitchers, our three weekend guys, Dom Fritton, Heath Andrews, and Marone, have a combined ERA of 2.02 on the year. 2.02 in 45 innings. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it is.
So it'd be nice to kind of figure out how to score some runs.
The one, yeah, exactly. You look at the schedule we've played minus obviously the games down in Jacksonville, but we've given up more home runs than we've hit, which is versus considering this series and the Fordham series, you would like to think that wouldn't be the case, but we're going to have to score them the old-fashioned way.
We'll have to score them the old-fashioned ways, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to hold you guys up too long. We're going to give you a quick little preview of Greensboro, Campbell, and Wright State, our weekend opponent next weekend, and we'll get out of here. But on Tuesday, we have UNC Greensboro coming to town. Is that right? They're in Raleigh. Is that correct? Make sure.
I thought it was Greensboro.
Might be at Greensboro.
Campbell was in Raleigh.
It's at Greensboro.
At Greensboro. So we're in Greensboro on Tuesday, at home Wednesday versus Campbell. I think the forecast might be calling for rain on Wednesday. But so against UNC Greensboro, Greensboro is 5-5 right now. I got a little interesting nugget on Greensboro. I think that on Tuesday I expect to see Noah Chapman. He threw the midweek game against Wake Forest, and he has a 1.26 ERA and 19 strikeouts in 14 innings so far on the season. So they shut Wake Forest out. I believe that's right. They beat them 4-0.
They did. I saw that.
Another note on Mr. Chapman. Mr. Chapman he's a left-hander, mid-90s fastball. He's a sophomore now. He was the number one left-handed pitching recruit in the state of South Carolina coming out of high school. Kind of surprises you that guy doesn't end up at Clemson or a Gamecock. But UNCG will kind of be a good measuring stick because they've won 1 out of 3 games versus Virginia Tech and Pitt. They play weekend series with both those teams, and those are the two teams we play first in ACC play. If you guys listened to Alex G last week, he talked about us needing to get on a winning streak, and then as Virginia Tech, as formidable as Virginia Tech and Pitt both are, as, ACC teams, they're probably the two teams that you want to open up with if you're as young as we are on our ACC schedule. So Greensboro did win 1 out of 3 versus both those teams. And if you look at their stats, I think that the lefties that they're going to throw against us on Tuesday, or I expect to see, is probably the best pitcher they've had so far this season. They got a 5.44 team ERA. Greensboro's only hitting 209. So
And I saw where they've only hit 3 home runs this season.
yeah, they've only hit 3 home runs on the season. They only have one person that you would consider a regular that's hitting above 300. Got a guy that's got 36 at bats for him, hitting a buck 67. They've already struck out 124 times in 10 games.
In
Wow.
contrast to our to Greensboro's 3 home runs on the season and NC State's, I think, 11. How many home runs do you think Tennessee's hit this season?
27. I don't know.
You'd be wrong. What do you think, Cal? Over, under?
I'll go with the over because you made a point to tell us.
31.
Wow.
31. God.
114 RBIs.
But this is how funny a game baseball is. So UNC Greensboro is hitting 209 as a team. They've hit 3 home runs all year, but they shut out Wake Forest, beat them 4-0 in a midweek game. That's why last year a lot of times we said you can't look at midweek games but so much. But I think we're all going to be paying attention Tuesday because honestly, if we beat UNC Greensboro, 5-5 UNC Greensboro, sounds crazy to say when we're already in March. But if we beat 5-5 UNC Greensboro, it will be the best win we've had all year.
That is correct.
Absolutely.
And by a long shot. I mean, Fordham and Canisius are
Canisius is still looking for their first win of the year.
Yeah, those are not two great ball clubs. They not to take anything away from them, but let's call it spade a spade. UNC Greensboro, that'd be a good matchup for us. I mean, we got a lot of lefties in the lineup. You got Sosa, Nixon. I hadn't looked at the breakdown versus lefty on lefty, but I feel like Nixon has struggled quite a bit versus lefties this year. But Sosa, Nixon, Head, all left-handed sticks in the lineup. So I expect, like I said, to see that left-hander Chapman. And I would love to see us, pick up a pretty decent win in a midweek. Hell, I don't remember the last time we won a midweek game, and I also don't remember the last time we beat a good team. I guess Georgia last year. So we'll take anything we can get. Then on Wednesday we have Campbell. Campbell, of course, lost their coach, Mr. Hare, to the Buckeyes. He's already continued his winning ways versus the Wolfpack up in Columbus. But Campbell is a 4-7 team.
The nobodies from nowhere.
And Campbell also has a couple of good wins this year already. So Campbell lost they got swept in their opening series by UC Santa Barbara, who's a top 25 team in the country right now. They beat East Carolina 3-2 in a midweek game, and then last week they beat Duke 9-6 in a midweek game, and then won 1 out of 3 versus Georgia Southern this weekend. But Campbell at 4-7, I don't think any of the three of us think that they're just going to come in and roll over for the Pack. Would that be an accurate statement?
Yes, that's accurate.
That is very accurate.
So, yeah, they already got wins over East Carolina and Duke. They would love to add NC State to the list. They got a guy with a good last name, Darnell Parker's hitting 469 for the Camels right now. And how about the kid? Y'all remember this name, Dalen Thompson? Do y'all remember that
Yes,
name?
that's the kid that committed and then went back.
He committed to State in the summer and then decided he was going to stay in Campbell. At Campbell, he's only hitting 216 right now, but
Man, he'd be middle of lineup for us. He should have came.
How's his fielding percentage? What's his fielding percentage out there in left or right field?
1,000.
Oh, my man Ty Head remains our only clean one on the defensive stat line.
DeCrescio did play a clean week of baseball, which was good to see.
And McHugh made a hell of a play today too over there on down the first baseline. The one
Yeah,
that
he did. He did.
the one that he tossed to
Probably
Marone.
one of the harder balls they hit all day.
Yeah, that was a hell of a play.
You look at our fielding percentage, we're at like 961, which is not like elite for a Division One program, but definitely respectable. And I still think like defensively, like it ain't all the errors we made. It's like the plays that we don't make that you feel like you should. Like one of the hits Sosa had today. Like I feel like those are the kind of hits that we're giving up. Do y'all remember the ball they hit between the center fielder and the right fielder? And
Oh
you're like,
gosh,
how is
yeah.
that a hit?
How does that drop?
How
Yeah,
does that get down?
that is a out even in
yeah.
high level high school baseball. I mean,
Yeah,
I
no
don't know what
doubt.
the hell was going on out
I
there,
was like,
but
what are they doing? So, I think a little bit of our defensive woes. I'd say as much as the plays that we haven't made are the plays that we booted, balls we booted, are the plays that you felt like we just haven't made that we probably should have. So, anyway, Campbell will be another good matchup for us. I hope we get to play that game. I say I hope we get to play that game. We might not when it's over, but we just really need at bats right now. We need as much action as we can get to try to get a little momentum rolling. Then coming in next weekend for a 3-game set is Wright State. What is Wright State's mascot? Are they like? I
I
don't
think
know.
it's a wolf or something. Some. I think it might be a wolf.
It looks
Go
like a
down to the
wolf.
wolves. Some type
Wright
of wolf.
State mascot. Wright State is the Rowdy Raiders.
No, it's a damn wolf is what I saw on the.
Definitely
Must
looks
be,
like a wolf.
yeah, a husky or something.
Puffy, hell, I don't know. But Wright State is, let's see, I don't know a whole lot about Wright State. I'm going to give you a
No,
little
no,
insight.
no notable alumni, that's for sure. And I did search that.
They're 3-6. They won 2 games versus Longwood, and they got swept down at Auburn. And then this weekend they got swept at Ole Miss. So, and they played Ole Miss 9-1, 8-3, 7-3. So, I mean, they played a better schedule than we have. I mean, they played six games versus SEC opponents, and then they're coming to the Doak this weekend to play another team, us, who was preseason top 15 in the country. So, Wright State 3-6 right now. They've hit 10 home runs. They're hitting 265 as a team. They struck out 93 times in 9 games, but opponents are hitting 305. Oh, I do remember this stat earlier when I was doing my research. Wright State does not have a starting pitcher, not a single pitcher in their 9 games this year. They have not started a pitcher yet that has an ERA below 12.
Hmm.
Pretty.
Yeah, they played some really good opponents though. I mean,
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, Ole Miss didn't exactly blow them out 9-1, 8-3, 7-3 was
They're
the
probably
finals.
licking their chops. These boys are like, we're about to get our
yeah.
stat.
I mean,
We're
yeah, they
about
played some pretty good teams so far. So who knows?
So yeah, I mean, a series that you think we should, on paper, we should sweep Wright State. Talent wise, we should sweep Wright State. NIL dollar wise, we should sweep Wright State. I can't say facility wise because I haven't seen their facilities, and I'm not just going to take ours for granted. But you feel like they've seen better pitching than we have so far, which is probably a little bit worrisome. But what say you fellas? What are we doing this week, Wes? Are we going 3-1, 3-2, 4-1, 5-0?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for how consistent Decrecio has been at the plate. So I think that's what we've been asking for the last few weeks is who's going to be the guy to be consistent, and Decrecio appears to be that guy. I don't think I'm necessarily sold on Luke being number 2 in the lineup behind Decrecio, but I think that's another positive that maybe came out of the first quarter of the season or first bit of the season. Um, so this week, 5-0. If you beat UNCG and Campbell, I don't know that I go that far. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. What do y'all think? I don't know. Just the Saturday debacle has kind of got me a little down, I guess. But I'd say, I mean, UNCG's hitting 209 as a team. surely we can go into Greensboro and win that game. And the Campbell game is going to be intense like it always is. So yeah, I'll say we beat UNCG and Campbell, and we got to sweep Wright State. You know what I mean? You know, if I guess if
With our three starters, you got to think we sweep Wright State. I totally
yeah.
agree.
I think if we probably go back to last season, after the Hawaii series or whoever we played after that, we probably weren't, very positive on what we were seeing, with the team. So, maybe this is a week we start, some guys get hot at the plate and we start putting the lineup together. And as we're going, preparing for conference play, maybe we start seeing a little more consistency from Sosa and some of the other guys. But I'll go 5-0 this week.
Adam?
Wow. I'm as big a Pack homer as there's ever been. So, yeah, I say 5-0 too, just because I feel like with the three starters we got, you got to think Consiglia is going to get a lot of work. Schaffner's look real good. Maybe he's the guy that we roll out against Campbell. So yeah, I'm gonna say with those five guys potentially as our starters, that we should be pretty hard to beat.
Where did the Campbell coach come from? Where'd the new coach come from?
I'm not sure. Was he an assistant? Let's find out.
I mean, it's amazing they still seem, Campbell's always had that, I guess you'd call it swag, when Harry was there, and it seems like they've retained that, from like Adam said earlier, what do they call themselves now? The nobodies from nowhere.
Nobody's from nowhere. Yeah,
And that's
Nobody's
cool,
from nowhere.
yeah,
I like that. You gotta brand yourself, and I think that's a really good marketing for Campbell baseball.
yeah.
He
I think they're
came.
selling those jerseys.
Yeah.
He came from Purdue, but was he an assistant at Campbell when they hired him? He came to Purdue. He's an assistant at Campbell for 5 seasons from 2014 to 2019. Then he went to Purdue. Okay.
The biggest question is see if ChatGPT can help you. Did they keep the meat wagon? We need to know if they kept the meat wagon.
Can Chat GPT help me? Um, I tell you, an interesting piece of information about Campbell. The athletic director at Campbell, Hannah Bazemore, graduated high school with me. She's a Wallace Rose Hill Bulldog, so she stayed in black and orange. Um, I just remembered that. It says, yes, Campbell University's baseball team has a mobile weight training trailer called the Meat Wagon. It's used when they are traveling, so they don't have to use other teams' weight rooms.
That is
I
awesome.
like it.
All I want one day is for me to be at my normal Hampton Inn traveling somewhere and pull up and see the meat wagon at the Hampton Inn.
You can go out there and ask them, can you get a few sets in?
I will give them some NIL money just so I can get one lift in the meat wagon.
So yeah, I think I'm hesitant to say 5-0 because I think the lefty from Greensboro is really, really good. But also because it doesn't seem like Greensboro's had a whole lot of firepower themselves offensively, I think we're going to find a way to win that game. Also, I think to Adam's point, I think that the left-hander, I think we're going to start a left-hander on Tuesday as well, and I think he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So should be a pretty good matchup of Consiglio versus Chapman. And Chapman did throw 3 innings on Saturday, so he won't have the length, I don't think, that Coop might have. I know we might start thinking about the weekend, but with it not being ACC play, I could also see, if we are to start Coop and he's cruising, you just don't even worry about the weekend series and you let him go as long as he can. So I'm going to pick us to go 5-0 as well. Campbell this week also plays on Tuesday. I think if we were Campbell's only game this week, I would pick Campbell because they'd be, you'd say, a little fresher, but they are hosting Liberty on Tuesday. Pretty good ball club. Liberty's 7-4 right now, but they played some good teams. Knocked us off in a midweek, of course. So I'm going to go 5-0 as well. The next question I ask, and we'll get out of here, is what do you guys want to see? So we know we got to keep showing gradual improvement as we get towards ACC play. what are you guys wanting to see this week that'll make you feel a little bit more optimistic about us as we really now are? I mean, we open up ACC play with Virginia Tech on
And
March
I
14th.
think for me, just for I think that McHugh and Decrecio have been solid. So for one or two more guys to step up and give you consistent, offense, I think that's the key. Like we talked about earlier, the starting pitching's been phenomenal. So still looking for that, that other guy. And I don't know exactly where I think Luke should be in the lineup, but for some reason I'm not feeling it the number two spot right now.
Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you couldn't look at, saying we still need some offensive firepower. I mean, even some of those games this weekend, it just, obviously the Saturday game in particular, we never put them away, and I, still, we talked about Lanphier and Hogue, preseason, those guys are right now at the bottom of our list of averages, for our, our routine starters. I was looking too. Ty Head has drawn 13 of the starters 56 walks.
Well, he had
Uh,
4 yesterday, right? In one game.
For
that's
today.
yeah,
Today. Yeah, seeing a lot of pitches.
yeah, that's awesome, and only 4 strikeouts. So, um, you know, that's pretty impressive for a freshman. Um, you know, obviously you know, we get Lanphier and Hogue to come around and obviously Sosa start seeing the ball a little better. I mean, I don't know what it is. He's, Avent mentioned that Sosa was being being too aggressive at the plate, but man, he's looked at a lot of strike threes as well. So um, I don't know. He'll figure it out. I mean, the guy, he does have a good eye for the ball. He goes deep in a lot of counts. We've talked about that, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's going to figure it out. But yeah, I agree with you on Luke. Just trying to figure out where he goes. He's, even the day was that the day he slipped? He had a ball he probably would have beat out, but he slipped running in the first.
Yeah.
That cost him a hit, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, I just see these guys build a little more confidence. They're seeing more live pitching, more reps here before we get to ACC play. Just hope that it starts clicking for them. I agree that McHugh and Decrecio, they've been productive.
Shout out to Chase Nixon over at Memphis now. Chase had a 3 home run weekend, hit a grand slam today. So, I think that was a lot of people. A lot of people wanted to see Chase in the lineup at State more. Kind of felt like he didn't bring enough juice, from the home run standpoint, but hit 3 this weekend. So, I love that kid, a good Wolfpacker. Happy to see him have that success. As far as what I'm looking for, I'm still looking for who's going to hit some bombs. I want McHugh. He's hitting 400. I'd like to see a little bit, a little more juice out of him. He's got 4 extra base hits. You guys probably wouldn't believe this, other than the fact he's got, I guess almost as many hits as anybody. But right now, Decrecio leads the team in extra base hits. He's got 6 extra base hits, and Luke is second on the team. He's hit 5 doubles, so he has the second most amount of extra base hits. And then you got several guys with 4. Sosa's hit 3 home runs and a double. Frostman actually has 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and a triple. So I guess he's got 5 as well. But I'm looking for a little more juice. I also think that once you get in ACC play, we have a lot of young guys that you're looking to see who can hit elite pitching. And that's one of the things that we haven't seen it yet. We haven't even seen any signs of it from Sosa, but we know from last year that Sosa is a guy that can hit elite pitching because he was so good last year, in the regionals and super regionals. So, who are the guys in the lineup that can hit elite pitching? You figure Decrecio can. He's a 5th-year senior. So we'll be paying attention to that. And then on the pitching side, obviously Jacob Duden. I'm wondering if we're going to see Matt Willitson again soon and how he's progressing. And I think we all are wondering when we're going to see Derek Smith. So I think those are the question marks I have as we sit here 12 days from our ACC opener. But Wesley said before we came on, or maybe he said it even since we got on the show, last year at this point in the season, there were times where we thought we were really bad. We're 6-5, got 5 winnable ball games this week, got A&T the next week in the midweek. I mean, we could easily be 12-5 going to suit it up against Virginia Tech. And, if you could find a way to win 2 out of 3 in that series, your season really take off. So we still have more questions than answers, but look forward to being back here next week to talk about it.